Before you sleep tonight, understand this. Your night is not empty. It's a moment of spiritual power. What you do in these final moments will shape the strength, clarity, and direction of your tomorrow. Night prayer before you sleep. Christian motivation before you close your eyes tonight. Understand this. Sleep is not just rest for your body. It is a transfer point for your spirit. The night is not empty time. It is sacred space. Many people go to bed carrying worry, fear, and unfinished thoughts. But you were never designed to sleep burdened. You were designed to sleep in authority, in peace, and in alignment with purpose. You don't end your day by accident. You end it intentionally. The way you approach your night determines the quality of your tomorrow. If you carry confusion into your sleep, you will wake up with heaviness. But when you enter rest with clarity, gratitude, and surrender, you rise with direction and strength. That's why prayer before sleep is not a ritual. It is a realignment. Tonight, release everything you were never meant to carry. Every mistake, every delay, every unanswered question. Place it in God's hands. You are not responsible for controlling outcomes. You are responsible for trusting the one who already sees the end from the beginning. When you pray, you are not informing God. You are aligning yourself with His will. Night is more than the closing of a day. It is a divine opportunity to reset everything within you. When darkness falls, it is not a signal of ending, but a preparation for renewal. You were never designed to carry the full weight of your day into tomorrow. The pressure, the mistakes, the disappointments, and even the victories, none of these are meant to stay with you overnight. Night exists as a gift, a sacred space where you can release what no longer serves you and realign yourself with what truly matters. Many people treat sleep as an escape, but in truth, it is a moment of intentional surrender. It is the time when you consciously lay down your burdens and trust that what you cannot fix, God is already handling. Your mind, your spirit, and your emotions all need this reset. Throughout the day, you absorb conversations, challenges, and thoughts that can quietly build pressure within you. If you do not intentionally clear that space, it becomes cluttered, affecting not only your rest, but also your ability to think clearly the next day. That is why the night is so powerful. It allows you to disconnect from the noise and reconnect with peace. When you approach the night with purpose, you are not just going to sleep, you are stepping into restoration. You begin to understand that rest is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is a deliberate decision to trust that you do not have to control everything. As you prepare to sleep, you have the authority to choose what stays and what goes. You can release fear and embrace faith. You can let go of confusion and accept clarity. You can trade anxiety for peace. This is not automatic. It requires intention. The words you speak, the thoughts you entertain, and the posture of your heart all contribute to how effective this reset becomes. When you pray, reflect, and express gratitude, you are actively participating in this transformation. You are telling your spirit that it is safe to rest, safe to trust, and safe to let go. And in that place of surrender, something powerful happens. Your strength is renewed, your perspective is sharpened, and your spirit is restored. You wake up not carrying yesterday, but equipped for today. That is the power of the night when it is understood correctly. It becomes a spiritual reset that positions you for a stronger, clearer, and more purposeful tomorrow. Ending your day with intention is one of the most powerful habits you can develop because it determines how you carry yourself into the next day. Most people drift into the night without direction, scrolling through distractions, replaying problems, or collapsing into sleep with a restless mind. But you were not designed to live reactively, you were designed to live deliberately. The end of your day is not a random moment. It is a critical transition point. What you think about, what you focus on, and what you release in those final moments will shape your mindset, your emotions, and even your expectations for tomorrow. When you choose to end your day with intention, you take control of that transition. Instead of allowing the noise of the day to follow you into your rest, you pause and decide what deserves to stay and what must go. Every disappointment, every mistake, every frustration, you acknowledge it, learn from it, and then you release it. Holding on to it overnight does not solve it. It only magnifies it. Intention gives you the power to say, this ends here. I will not carry this into tomorrow. That decision alone creates space within your mind and spirit for peace to settle in. At the same time, intention is not only about what you release, but also about what you invite in. You choose gratitude over complaint. You choose faith over fear. You choose clarity over confusion. Even if your day did not go as planned, there is always something to be thankful for, and gratitude has a way of shifting your entire perspective. It reminds you that your life is not defined by a single moment, but by a greater purpose that is still unfolding. When you focus on that truth before you sleep, your heart becomes lighter and your mind becomes calmer. This intentional approach also strengthens your discipline. It teaches you that you are not a victim of your circumstances, but a steward of your thoughts and your actions. You begin to lead your life instead of reacting to it. You develop the ability to pause, reflect, and realign, even after a challenging day. And over time, this practice builds consistency within you, a quiet confidence that no matter what happens, you can always return to a place of peace and control. As you close your day, you are not just ending a cycle. You are preparing for a new beginning. The way you settle your thoughts tonight will influence the energy you carry when you wake up. When you end your day with intention, you don't just sleep better. You rise stronger, clearer, and more focused, ready to step into the next day with purpose. Prayer is often misunderstood as a moment where you inform God about your needs, your struggles, and your desires, as if He is unaware of what is happening in your life. But true prayer is not about giving God information. It is about bringing yourself into alignment. It is a shift, a repositioning of your thoughts, your will, and your perspective to match a higher purpose. When you understand this, prayer stops being a routine you perform and becomes a powerful transformation you experience. You are no longer approaching God just to speak. You are approaching Him to be adjusted, refined, and directed. Every day, life pulls you in different directions. Circumstances, emotions, and external pressures try to shape how you think and how you respond. Without alignment, you can easily find yourself operating from fear, confusion, or frustration. But prayer brings you back to center. It reminds you that there is a greater order beyond your immediate situation. It quiets the noise and allows you to hear truth again. In that moment, your focus shifts from what is out of your control to the one who holds all things together. This is where clarity begins. When you pray, you are not trying to convince God to follow your plan. Instead, you are choosing to trust His. That requires humility because it means letting go of the need to control every outcome. It means accepting that your understanding is limited, but His wisdom is not. Alignment happens when your desires begin to reflect His purpose, when your decisions are guided by faith rather than fear. This is not always comfortable, but it is always necessary for growth. True peace does not come from getting everything you want. It comes from knowing you are in the right position, even when you don't have all the answers. There is also authority in aligned prayer. When your heart, your mind, and your words are in agreement with truth, your confidence changes. You are no longer speaking from uncertainty. You are speaking from conviction. You begin to declare peace in the middle of chaos, clarity in the middle of confusion, and strength in the face of weakness. This is not denial of reality. It is a higher perspective that refuses to be limited by it. Alignment gives your words weight because they are no longer rooted in emotion alone, but in purpose. Over time, this understanding transforms your relationship with prayer. It becomes less about asking and more about becoming. You start to notice that your reactions change, your mindset strengthens, and your ability to navigate challenges improves. You are no longer easily shaken because you are consistently realigned. And in that place, you discover that prayer is not just something you do. It is a way you live, a continuous connection that keeps you grounded, focused, and moving in the right direction. Release and replace is not just a comforting idea. It is a necessary discipline for anyone who wants to live with clarity, peace, and purpose. Many people try to move forward while still holding on to the weight of what they should have let go. They carry fear, regret, disappointment, and anxiety as if these things are permanent parts of their identity. But you were never designed to function effectively while overloaded. You cannot step into a new level while gripping what belongs to the past. Releasing is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the conscious decision to say, this no longer has authority over me. Every day brings experiences that leave impressions on your mind and spirit. Some are positive, but others quietly drain your energy and distort your thinking. If you do not intentionally release them, they begin to accumulate. Over time, this buildup affects how you see yourself, how you respond to situations, and how you approach opportunities. You may not even realize it, but what you refuse to release will eventually control your reactions. That is why letting go is not optional. It is essential for growth. You have to clear the internal space before you can function at your full capacity. But release alone is not enough. If you simply let go without replacing, you leave a void, and emptiness rarely stays empty. Old thoughts and emotions will attempt to return if there is nothing new established in their place. That is why replacement is just as important as release. When you let go of fear, you must intentionally embrace faith. When you release anxiety, you must fill your mind with peace. When you drop negative thinking, you must replace it with truth. This is an active process, not a passive one. It requires awareness, discipline, and consistency. Your thoughts are powerful, and what you consistently think about becomes the foundation of your reality. If you keep rehearsing what went wrong, you reinforce limitation. But when you choose to focus on what is possible, you begin to build a mindset that supports growth. Replacement shifts your perspective. It changes the narrative you carry within yourself. Instead of seeing obstacles as barriers, you begin to see them as opportunities for development. Instead of expecting failure, you start to anticipate progress. This process does not happen once. It happens daily. Each day gives you another opportunity to evaluate what you are holding and decide whether it deserves to stay. You become more intentional with your inner world, understanding that your external life is a reflection of what is happening within. And as you practice releasing and replacing consistently, you begin to experience a different kind of freedom. One where you are no longer weighed down by the past, but strengthened and guided by what you choose to carry forward. Rest is often misunderstood as inactivity, but in truth, it is one of the clearest expressions of faith. It is easy to keep moving, to keep striving, to convince yourself that everything depends on your effort. But rest requires something deeper. It requires trust. Trust that what you cannot complete in your own strength, God is still able to handle. Trust that the world does not fall apart when you pause. Trust that your value is not measured by how exhausted you are, but by how aligned you are. When you truly understand this, rest stops feeling like a luxury and becomes a necessity. Many people struggle to rest because they carry an internal pressure to control outcomes. Their minds stay active even when their bodies are tired, replaying situations, planning every detail, and worrying about what might go wrong. But this constant tension is not a sign of responsibility. It is a sign of misplaced trust. You were never designed to carry everything alone. There is a limit to your strength, your understanding, and your ability to control the future. Rest is the moment where you acknowledge those limits and choose to rely on something greater. When you lie down in peace, you are making a quiet but powerful declaration. I have done my part, and I trust God to do what I cannot. That posture shifts everything. It releases the burden of perfection and replaces it with confidence. It reminds you that progress is not only made through effort, but also through surrender. Some of the most important work in your life happens when you step back and allow space for divine direction. Rest creates that space. There is also restoration in rest that you cannot achieve any other way. Your mind becomes clearer, your emotions stabilize, and your perspective resets. When you are constantly running without pause, your thinking becomes clouded and your decisions become reactive. But when you rest intentionally, you return with sharper focus and renewed strength. You begin to see situations differently, not from a place of pressure, but from a place of clarity. This is why rest is not a delay in progress. It is a preparation for it. Choosing to rest is not always easy, especially when there are unfinished tasks and unanswered questions. But faith is not proven in comfort. It is proven in your willingness to trust even when things are incomplete. Resting does not mean you are ignoring responsibility. It means you are placing it in the right hands. And as you develop this habit, you begin to experience a deeper level of peace, one that is not dependent on circumstances but rooted in trust. In that place, you discover that rest is not just something you do at the end of the day, but a mindset you carry, a steady confidence that you are supported, guided, and never alone in the process. As you prepare to sleep tonight, remember that the end of your day is not a finish line. It is a preparation ground for what's next. You have the power to release every burden, realign your thoughts, and step into rest with confidence. This is your moment to let go of fear, replace it with faith, and trust that what you cannot control is already in God's hands. When you choose to end your day with intention, you position yourself to rise with clarity, strength, and purpose. So don't go to bed carrying what you were meant to surrender. Take a few moments now, pray, reflect, and speak peace over your life. Make this a daily habit, not an occasional act. If you commit to this practice consistently, you will begin to see transformation not just in your nights but in your days. Start tonight and let your rest become a declaration of faith. So rest with faith, release every burden, and trust that God is working even now. Close your eyes in peace tonight and rise tomorrow with purpose and power.